Douluo Continent, the strong are respected. Thinking of the future battle between the two gods, Ling Yun felt immense pressure. Especially after the War of the Two Gods, the mainland was not unified, which delayed this transformation for 10,000 years. The cause is simply to achieve personal revenge. Change is change, what personal grudges arise? It's all about change, so why can't this reformer be me? To become stronger, one must become stronger. Can changing the plot make it stronger? Must be modified. Can transforming the mainland make it stronger? Then I must rule. Of course. It's me alone who launched a war against you. Feel the pain. Experience the pain. Accept the pain. Understand the pain. People who have not experienced pain will not understand true peace. I can't understand the hard-won nature of peace. The mainland was unified, and Douluo Star broke away from the control of the divine realm, so Ling Yun stood at the peak and glanced over the gods, saying, "Next, it's your turn to feel the pain." Keywords of the novel. Douluo. Empowering the nine tails to make the world feel pain without pop-ups, Douluo. Empowering the nine tails to make the world feel pain. Download the complete text. Douluo. Empowering the nine tails to make the world feel pain. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Character Panel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Character Panel. Notting City, Martial Soul Hall Branch Hall. Today is the annual Martial Soul Awakening Day of our Martial Soul Hall. Since its establishment, the Martial Soul Hall has always adhered to this purpose of awakening martial souls for children over 6 years old for free. At the highest position of the branch hall, the highest person in charge, Deacon Ma Zayunuo, is telling the story of the founding philosophy of the Martial Soul Hall and the reason for setting an annual awakening day. Below, hundreds of children gathered in the lobby, listening to his generous speech like believers. A 6-year-old child, all with an excited expression, looked at Mathiano's speech above. But there is one exception. There is a small open space in the crowd, which looks particularly abrupt from above. It's like there's a dangerous area there, no one approaches, except for the one in the middle. In the center, there is a boy with black hair and pupils, dressed in a gray plain coat, who looks very delicate. Ling Yun, a traveler from the 21st century Blue Star. How did it come about? Ling Yun himself was a bit speechless. Even though it was a green light, who would have thought of walking on the sidewalk with a sudden beep-beep sound in their ears, and then opening their eyes to come here? After learning that he had arrived in Douluo Continent, Ling Yun was still a bit excited. He could cultivate and become stronger, and who wouldn't like it? I just feel a little regretful in my heart. Why didn't I ruin the book Douluo Continent? Carve it word by word directly in your mind, so what chance does it have for you? I used to feel pretty, but when I grew up, I didn't like it anymore. It's just regret, it's useless. Should we wait or not? After finally waiting for 6 years, you started speaking like a principal again, torturing people, isn't that right? How much longer do we have to talk about it? Looking up at Matthew muttering from above, Ling Yun felt a bit drowsy. If it weren't for the fear of being kicked out, I would have shown a desire to sleep earlier. About half an hour later Matthew's speech ended, and the personnel from the Martial Soul Hall took out the awakening stone to decorate it. With the completion of the awakening formation, Ling Yun's whole body became energized. The most important aspect of Douluo Continent is its martial soul and innate soul power. Only by awakening to these two things can one wander on the Douluo Continent, otherwise all illusions will be illusory. Dagger, martial soul weapon, pretty good. Go there to test and see if you have innate soul power. The first child quickly awakened. Looking in the direction pointed by Mathiano, Ling Yun noticed a small platform that had been established at some point, with soul power testing crystals on it. The testing continued, and as soon as one person left, they immediately started the next one. Finally, it's Ling Yun's turn. Call out. Ling Yun took a deep breath and slowly walked up, but his heart was beating very fast, as if it was about to jump out at any moment. There's no way, around 20 people have awakened in front of him, and their martial souls are not good, such as blue silver grass, sickle, hoe, and so on. Except for the dagger martial soul of the first child, who possesses level 1 soul power, no one possesses innate soul power. Walking into the center of the awakening array, Ling Yun closed his eyes. As soon as he closed his eyes, he felt something seeping into his body, which made him feel very comfortable. Click. A sound that seemed to be shattered somehow echoed in my mind. Ling Yun knew that the martial soul had awakened, but why was there no movement in his right hand? Opening his eyes, he quickly felt a slight warmth in his eyes, and his delicate face paused, frozen in place. Oh, martial soul eyes, very special martial soul. Ma Ziyunuo looked behind Ling Yun and suddenly opened his eyes, as well as the soul power fluctuations in his eyes, which made him somewhat interested. Upon careful observation, Ma Ziyunuo smiled and looked at Ling Yun in a daze, saying, "Child, the awakening of the martial soul is over. It's time to test your soul power." As soon as he spoke, Ling Yun quickly regained his senses. "Okay, Master Mathiano." After learning from the previous children's methods and thanking Mathiano, he came to the soul power crystal and slowly placed his hand on it. Level 2. Just as he was about to touch it, Ling Yun silently thought to himself before placing his hand on the cold soul power crystal. Ling Yun, martial soul eyes, innate soul power level 2. The observer of the martial soul hall on the side saw this and loudly stated the level of soul power, then quickly began writing on the sheepskin scroll. Level 2 soul power is rare, and most gifted ordinary children have this soul power. Looking at Mateo here, upon hearing his soul power level, he couldn't help but nod. With such innate soul power, I don't think that old guy will be too disappointed. However, no one noticed that after reciting the soul power level, Ling Yun's pupils dilated for a moment. Taking the hot martial soul voucher, Ling Yun said thank you and quickly walked out of the martial soul branch hall. After awakening, except for those indicated by the martial soul hall, most of them can leave directly without waiting for the martial soul awakening ceremony to completely end. So when Ling Yun left, no one focused their attention on him. Nodding Soul Master Academy, Teacher Dormitory, this is where Ling Yun resides. Hey, Xiao Yun, how could he walk so fast? He looks very anxious. Don't you know today is the Martial Soul Hall, the day when the martial soul awakens? It's probably because some good martial soul has awakened. Hurry to report it to the dean. Hi, that's really a pity. The dean just left and went to the Lord's mansion not long ago. The mentors of Nodding College, seeing Ling Yun walking so fast, discussed for a while and then dispersed. As discussed by the teachers, Ling Yun did not see anyone when he returned to his residence. He inexplicably breathed a sigh of relief, locked the door, leaned against the bedside, and looked at the ceiling. No, it's not about looking at the ceiling. Isn't this thing just a system? Ling Yun murmured, but his gaze was fixed on the ceiling. Oh, no, it should be said to be a character panel similar to online game data. Should I be able to see it myself? At least when I passed by so many people just now, no one cared, except for those teachers just now. Ling Yun, martial soul. Eyes, soul power. 2. Soul skill. None, ninjutsu. None, chi yun value. None, item list. Mysterious small package. Ling Yun looked at the character panel in his retina, which suddenly appeared like a system after his martial soul awakened. Especially before testing soul power, the level of soul power seen and the level of soul power readout. He was a bit excited, and puzzled. Good news, the system is here. Bad news, how does this system work? Or rather, what is this thing for? He understands all 4 things. Martial soul, soul power, soul skills, and item list. Just. What exactly is this ninjutsu and chi value? Confused, and puzzled. Ling Yun didn't understand why he appeared in the Douluo Continent. Ninjutsu, such an outrageous classification column. Forget it, let's take a look at this thing first. After thinking all the way, Ling Yun couldn't understand the usage of the system. This thing is not like in novels, it makes a sound on its own or has a manual or something like that. It's completely the kind that has just been produced and doesn't have time to put instructions. So, Ling Yun turned his gaze to the item in the inventory list, which was called the mysterious little package. According to the laws of the system, this thing should be the so-called beginner gift pack, right? End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Writing Will Eyes. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 2 Writing Will Eyes, Use. Staring intently at the mysterious small package, I came up with some methods for opening the system gift package and silently said these two words in my mind. The transmission of ideas, the mysterious small package in the panel has changed, and a prompt bar pops up in front of me. Congratulations on obtaining Soul Power Dark Mind, 3-Body Technique, Blood Card, and Mysterious Will Lottery. Once after 4 rewards appear, the panel changes. Ling Yun, Martial Soul. Eyes, Soul Power. 2, Soul Skill. None, Ninjutsu. None, Chi Yun Value. None, Item List. Soul Power Dark Mind, 3-Body Technique, Blood Card, Mysterious Will Lottery. Once, the 4 things that appear on the item list, the 3-Body Technique and the Mysterious Spinning Wheel Ling Yun, are easy to understand at first glance. Just to verify his hypothesis, Ling Yun stared at the 3-Body Technique and silently recited to use it. After only a second of speaking, the 3-body spells on the item list disappeared, and some binding gestures and soul power movement roots immediately appeared in my mind. Separation, transformation, and stunt doubles. These 3 ninjutsus not only appear in my mind, but also in the ninjutsu options on the character panel. Ninjutsu. Or the Hokage system. With the hand gesture of the seal and the appearance of the familiar name, Ling Yun already understood that his system should be related to the Fire Shadow world. It's just a bit strange, isn't I in Douluo Continent? How can I get the Hokage system? However, it doesn't seem bad either. Give it a try. Thinking of the dazzling ninjutsu, Ling Yun suppressed his excitement. Following the gesture that had just appeared in his mind, Ling Yun merged his hands and began to imprint. Wei Xiyin. Splitting technique, one of the essential ninjas, only takes 5 seconds to complete the seal and can be used. The art of clone. After the last Yin seal is completed and the soul power inside the body reaches the designated position, it will be activated. Ga ga ga. What's going on, my clone? Ling Yun looked left and right, then at the seal in his own hand. That's right, where did the clone go? 3 prints, completed in 5 seconds, not difficult, how could there be no clone? Immediately after, Ling Yun began to make 2 more seals and never had a clone. He didn't believe in evil and was about to perform it again, but he felt a wave of emptiness in his body and almost fell to the ground. The symptom of exhaustion of soul power. Did I just succeed? Soul power consumption proves that one should have successfully activated their ninjutsu just now, but what about humans? Is it true? Ling Yun thought of the reward he had just received, and there was something called Soul Power Dark Mind. He summoned the system in his mind and directly used this dark mind. The next moment of use, some different cultivation methods came to mind from Douluo Continent and Huiying. How to put it, it's like merging the 2 cultivation methods. Sitting cross-legged on the bed, running a new cultivation method for about half a minute, Ling Yun felt his soul power suddenly recover by half. No accidents, this time it's fine. Wei Xiyin. After the last seal was completed, Ling Yun felt the loss of soul power in his body and instead appeared on his right side. Bang! Ling Yun turned around and saw herself, who was looking at her together. Looking at the other self, after observing for about 5 seconds, the clone dissipated, leaving Ling Yun stunned for a moment. I am now casting a clone spell, which consumes 1/3 of my soul power and can last for 5 seconds. Another point is that only by practicing this soul power meditation idea can one unleash ninjutsu, which can be considered as combining soul power with chakra. After roughly sorting out the relationship between the two, Ling Yun felt a little excited for a moment. According to the rules of Douluo Continent, most of the attack methods possessed by soul masters come from soul rings. Except for soul rings that last for 100,000 or millions of years and come with 2 or more, there is basically only one attack method. If one can use ninjutsu, does that mean their attack is constantly changing? You should know that there are many types of ninjutsu, and just the 3-body technique that ninjas must learn is not effective against ordinary enemies. Leaving aside transformation techniques and clone techniques for now, substitute techniques are really 2 bugs. These 2 rewards are like this: what would be the blood card and the mysterious wheel? Ling Yun is not mistaken. The martial soul of Douluo Continent comes from bloodline and soul. Will this bloodline card change one's martial soul? The blood card in the item list was directly used by Ling Yun, and soon, another option panel popped up in front of him. Azibo bloodline, Hinata bloodline, Bright Knight bloodline, Thousand Hand bloodline, Yui bloodline. After using the blood card, the rewards inside are clear at a glance, but which one is this Radiant Knight? Exactly. Fortunately, after looking at the blood vessels, some detailed explanations appeared. Let Ling Yun understand that the bloodline of this Huiyi is not the De Jianmu Huiyi that he thought of, but the Huiyi clan. That family with the ability to control their own bones. The other 3 blood vessels have obvious effects. The Uchiha family, the Sharingan family that made a great reputation in the Hokage world. The Hyuga tribe, with white eyes, has a 360-degree field of view without blind spots, capable of seeing through any obstacles or surveying all scenery dozens of kilometers away. Thousand-handed bloodline, possessing strong physical fitness, soul power, and self-healing ability. As long as you choose one of the 4 bloodline powers, you can inherit them. Looking at the 4 options in front of him, Ling Yun did not hesitate to choose the bloodline of Yujibwa. Riding Wheel Eyes, the power of 1 to 3 Hook Jade, is definitely a very powerful ability in the Douluo Continent. Not to mention that there are enough opportunities in the future to evolve into the Kaleidoscope Sharingan. Not only will it possess 2 powerful exclusive abilities, but it will also possess the earth-shattering Susanoo. Especially if luck is against the sky, the Eye of Reincarnation is not impossible. Although the White Eye can evolve into a Reincarnation Eye with abilities comparable to those of the Reincarnation Eye, its early abilities are too limited and it is not effective to write the Reincarnation Eye. Ling Yun doesn't know what these bloodline abilities will become when they reach Douluo Continent. However, considering overall abilities, the practicality of Riding Wheel Eyes is undoubtedly the top priority. After selecting the reward, Ling Yun felt his gaze slightly blurred, and in the end, he collapsed directly on the bed. Yunner, I heard from Deacon Matthew that the 2nd level soul power is great. Level 2 soul power, cultivate well in the future, and decide to become a strong one, Yunner. A middle-aged man slowly entered, and as he spoke outside, he quickly opened the locked door. After returning from the Lord's mansion, he inquired about the awakening of Ling Yun's martial soul. According to Deacon Matthew, his grandson had a good talent and quickly ran back. Unexpectedly, as soon as I opened the door, my grandson passed out by the bed. Perhaps it was because the sound was too loud, or because he woke up naturally. Ling Yun vaguely opened his eyes. Cloud. Ling Yun woke up, and the man was about to lift the other person up, but when he saw their eyes, he was completely stunned. What enters the eye are a pair of eyes with blood-red pupils, which seem to have a small black dot. How to put it, at the beginning of seeing these eyes, I felt that the other person was exceptionally attractive. Gradually, as if he wanted to get deeply involved, he quickly shook his head and for a moment became a bit scared. I am a soul sect, but surprisingly, I am only affected by such a newly awakened martial soul. Ling Yun only noticed something unusual in his pupils when he saw the other person's reaction. He quickly came to a mirror and saw the seductive eyes in his pupils. Am I awakened, writing will eyes? The new book set sail, please kindly move your fingers, click on, save, and vote for recommendations. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Qi Yun Value, Refusing to Learn from Teachers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Qi Yun Value, Refusing to Learn from Teachers. The situation is like this. According to Deacon Matheno, Yunner, this child should have awakened a pair of ordinary eyes and martial souls. How could she now become like this? A room almost filled with books. Dean of Notting College, Grandpa of Ling Yun, Ling Noa. Bringing Ling Yun here. The reason Ling Noa came here is very simple. There lives a friend who has a wealth of theoretical knowledge. Ling Yun stood on the side, his gaze fixed on a head of black short hair, and he looked very gloomy. The man dressed in simple clothes had a profound impression. This person Ling Yun knows, the Enlightenment teacher of the divine King Tang San, Yu Xiaojiang. It's just that these things have nothing to do with oneself. Although he was standing next to Ling Noa, his gaze was constantly scrutinizing the last reward on the panel, and the mysterious roulette was drawn once. The most powerful reward in the package should be this one. The old man didn't give himself a chance, but when he noticed a change in his martial soul, he immediately brought him along. Has the martial soul changed after awakening? Upon hearing this, Yu Xiaojiang was somewhat surprised and had already made some guesses in his heart. Looking at Ling Yun on the side, a stiff face pulled out a smile and said, Xiao Yun, can you show me your awakened martial soul? After mentioning himself, Ling Yun regained his senses and looked at the two of them. Seeing everyone wanting to take a look, Ling Yun did not refuse. Eyes open and close, soul power emerges from the body, and a pair of blood-red pupils emerge. One Goyu writes the wheel eye. After the emergence of the martial soul, Ling Noa looked at the blood-red Sharingan and felt some palpitations for a moment. You should know that you are a soul sect, but if you didn't pay attention before, you almost fell into it. Just Xiao Gang, why didn't he react? Xiao Gang, Xiao Gang. As soon as he turned his head, he saw Yu Xiaojiang staring foolishly at Ling Yun. Obviously, Yu Xiaojiang's situation is the same as his own, sinking into it. It's just that the other party's strength is not strong and different from our own soul sect, so they didn't come out. Is it possible to possess such an ability with just one Goyu writing will I? Looking at Yu Xiaojiang who was hit, as well as his grandfather who was also hit in the afternoon, Ling Yun gained some new understanding of his ability to write will eyes. The Sharingan, also known as the eye that reflects the soul. Every appearance of a jade in the pupils represents an increase in the pupil strength of the Sharingan. A jade will eye can provide the eye opener with powerful dynamic visual observation ability. Goyu's Sharingan can quickly capture enemy movements and soul power flow with its eyes for imitation and replication. San Goyu's Sharingan possesses powerful illusion abilities. How to put it, in fact, as soon as the wheel eye is written, it carries these three abilities. Compared to observation ability, the other two are relatively weak and cannot fully achieve the described ability. Just such a weak illusion ability can inadvertently disrupt even the strongest members of the soul sect. It seems that choosing the Uzi Wave bloodline is a very good decision. In addition to advanced martial souls, Ling Yun's soul power has also undergone significant changes. Ling Yun, martial soul. Writing will eyes, 1 Go Jade, soul power. 10, soul skill. None, ninjutsu. 3 body technique, transformation technique, separation technique, substitution technique, Qi Yun value. None, item list. Mysterious Will Lottery. Once, the bloodline of Yuzhibo not only brings about the evolution of martial souls, but also affects the level of innate soul power, becoming level 10. My current self can also be called innate full soul power. This martial soul is so powerful. If I hadn't sensed it wrong, Xiaoyun's innate soul power wouldn't be at level 1, but innate full soul power, right? After experiencing the power of the Sharingan firsthand, Yu Xiaojiang not only did not feel scared, but also faintly excited. Combined with Ling Nuo's previous description and Ling Yun's current changes, this makes him even more excited. Mutated martial soul, also a very rare martial soul, this is a very special example. After a moment of excitement, he quickly hid it and constantly warned himself in his heart. Don't get excited. Don't get excited. Don't get excited. He already had an idea in his heart, one that would make the world no longer underestimate him. Humph, why do you say that my theoretical knowledge is reckless? This time, I must prove it to you. As Yu Xiaojiang was mentally active, Ling Yun's indifferent expression paused for a moment. The reason why he stayed is very simple. At that moment, there was a change in the column of Qi luck value. It went from nothing to 10. This is not a big deal. After the change in the Qi Yun value column, a new icon and a prompt bar appeared on the panel. Congratulations, you have obtained 10 Qi points and the redemption mall has opened, Qi Yun value. Exchange mall. The sudden scene caught Ling Yun off guard. After seeing two things at the same time, Ling Yun gradually had a guess in his mind. Huiying system, the exchange mall should have exchanges for ninjutsu, so the Qi value is probably currency, right? Just one question, how did this energy value come about? Yeah, Xiaojiang. I've heard that Xiaoyun has a level 1 soul power, so I guess it's a postnatal change after the mutation of his martial soul, right? I think so, but it's rare for the martial soul to mutate after awakening and the innate soul power to improve so much. As Ling Nuo and Yu Xiaojiang were talking, Ling Yun regained his senses and couldn't help but look at Yu Xiaojiang. It has been some time since the system woke up and Ling Yun has met many people. Not to mention the increase in Qi luck, there was no movement at all. It didn't take long to see Yu Xiaojiang this time. Is it possible that this Qi luck value is related to Yu Xiaojiang? Qi luck, is it not that this Qi luck value can only be obtained from people with names and surnames in the original work? So the question is, what exactly is needed to obtain Qi Yun value? Xiao Gang, besides showing you Yun Air's martial soul, I also want to ask you to see what kind of soul beast Yun Air's first soul ring is suitable for. This. Upon hearing this, Yu Xiaojiang suddenly felt a bit embarrassed. Ling Nuo saw the situation and continued, of course, if you mind, I can have Yuner worship you as a teacher. What do you think? To be honest, after learning that my grandson's martial soul is a mutated martial soul and has innate full soul power, he knew that his abilities could not be cultivated. But soon he thought of Yu Xiaojiang, who lived in a college, and believed that with his knowledge, he should be able to cultivate Ling Yun well, right? Ling Nuo spoke, and Yu Xiaojiang felt a sense of joy in his heart, but his face still looked a bit embarrassed. Seeing this, Ling Yun immediately spoke up and said, wait for Grandpa, I don't agree. The voice is not loud, but the meaning is expressed exceptionally decisively. Upon hearing this, Yu Xiaojiang's face stiffened, and Ling Nuo was also stunned. Neither of them expected that Ling Yun would choose not to apprentice. Especially Yu Xiaojiang was completely stunned. He has been living at Notting College and is quite familiar with Ling Yun. I thought the matter of apprenticeship was a foregone conclusion, but in the end, it turned out like this. After Ling Yun finished shouting, he didn't know what was going on, and his face couldn't help but feel happy. After seeing this scene, Yu Xiaojiang's face turned even darker. End of this chapter. Chapter 4, Second Martial Soul, 9 Tales. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4, Second Martial Soul, 9 Tales, Yuner, go back first, I'll discuss with Xiaojiang. You are born with full soul power, the earlier you obtain the first soul ring, the better. Although Ling Yun didn't quite understand why Ling Yun didn't want to apprentice to Xiaojiang, he didn't think too much. If you don't want it, then don't want it. Based on my relationship with you Xiaojiang and the factor of accommodation, it shouldn't be a big problem to help me advise on soul rings. I understand, Grandpa. Could you please tell the master that I don't like apprenticeship? After a brief explanation, Ling Yun turned around and left. He really doesn't want to worship Yu Xiaojiang as his teacher for 3 reasons. The first reason is that it's useless to worship him as his teacher. Just theoretical knowledge, these 6 years have not been in vain, and the library of Notting College is not just a decoration. I am my grandfather's grandson. Although I picked it up, I can still observe it freely. Secondly, the reason is precisely that the system exists and one does not need many teachers. To a certain extent, even if the system is one's own teacher, although it is a dead object, at least it gives oneself a new existence. The last point is that he seems to have some hints about how to obtain chi points. The most crucial factor among them is the character contact that has appeared in Douluo, which can be obtained. The way to obtain it, Ling Yun has a bold guess, isn't it just changing his life trajectory? Yu Xiaojiang is a living example. Originally, he should have met Tang San in order to have a bright future. But if one has just observed correctly and the other person already has the idea of accepting oneself as a student, then there will be a generation of chi value. This can be seen from my rejection of Yu Xiaojiang just now, when my luck skyrocketed by 100 points. Returning to his room, Ling Yun couldn't wait to open the exchange mall. The first reward that caught his eye made him a little envious. God Tree Fruit, Sales Price 100,000,000 Chi Yun Value. Great, how long will it take to make up for 1 billion yuan of luck at the beginning? The rewards for the subsequent 9 Goyu Reincarnation Sharingan, Golden Reincarnation Sharingan, and Goyu Reincarnation Sharingan are all included. You can say you are invincible by obtaining any one of them, at least Douluo Continent is definitely not a problem, it's just that you can't get it at all. 110 chi value, can only be exchanged for the bottom item. Kowu *5, price. 10 chi yun value, soldier grain pill, price. 10 chi value, splitting technique, level ninjutsu, priced at 100 chi points, transformation technique, level ninjutsu, priced at 100 chi points, stand-up technique, level ninjutsu, priced at 500 chi points, big fireball technique, level ninjutsu, priced at 1000 chi points. Ling Yun roughly glanced at the price of ninjutsu and found that most of the level ninjutsu ranged from 100 to 500. level ninjutsu requires a minimum of 1000 chi points. C.level ninjutsu is 2000, B.level is 4000, and A.level is around 8000 to 10,000. S.level ninjutsu requires the most, starting directly at 16,000. Very good, none of these things can be replaced. Glancing roughly, my gaze turned to the last reward in the item list, and I silently used it. Soon, a huge turntable appeared before my eyes. There are 10 rewards inside, and the only thing to be grateful for is that none of them thank you for your patronage, and the rewards are also very powerful. 10 Fist Sword, 8 Nostalgic Mirrors, Flying Thunder God, Complete Collection of Spiral Pills, Banshu Exchange Coupon, S.level Ninjutsu Exchange Coupon *3, Perfect Immortal Body, 9-tailed 9 Llamas, Reincarnation Eye, and Reincarnation Eye. 10 rewards are all good, but how to use some things and drawn is a big question. Lottery. Ling Yun didn't think too much, and with a command from his mind, the pointer began to quickly rotate, passing over the rewards one by one. After about a minute, the pointer showed no signs of stopping, and Ling Yun knew he was going to give an order. This thing is really not intelligent. After a slight silence, the stop command was immediately issued, and the pointer speed slowly decreased before finally stopping at congratulations on obtaining it. 9 tails 9 llamas, this reward is good. 9-tailed, the strongest tailed beast with unlimited chakras. I wonder if it will have unlimited soul power in this world. As one of the 9-tailed beasts, the 9-tailed beast has unique strength among them. Huiying said something like this. 1 portion for Shoha and 1 portion for Julama. Another portion for the cat, 1 portion for the 9 llamas finally, 1 portion for Nyogue and 1 portion for Julama. The 6 immortals saw that there were still 84 pieces left in the end, and the next moment it happened to be the 9th llama's turn, and they all stuffed their brains into it. Just one question now, what would the form of the 9 tails exist in Douluo Continent? Looking at the 9-tailed rewards in the item list, Ling Yun is so frustrated. The system really doesn't have any prompts, right? Oh, it's not that there's no hint at all. After focusing on the 9 tails, the prompt given is as follows. The 9 llamas, the most powerful beings of the 9-tailed beasts, possess almost infinite soul power. Okay, there's no more after this sentence, it's like the system is speechless. But there's a saying that goes, yes, it's better than nothing. Give yourself verbal comfort and use Ling Yun silently. The 9-tailed reward on the item list disappeared, and in the next moment it turned into a stream of light, directly entering his body. Bang! After entering the body, a brown 9-tailed demon fox appeared behind Ling Yun. Not finished yet, Ling Yun tried to use the power of 9 tails, but soon regretted it. A scorching, molten power enveloped his entire body, and a massive invisible soul power instantly spread out from him as the center. Inside the house, Yu Xiaojiang and Ling Noa, who were discussing how to hunt for Ling Yun in the future, all paused for a moment. Bibi Dong. Air Long. Originally focused on thinking about how to plan the soul ring, Yu Xiaojiang suddenly had some memories in his mind that he wanted to forget. Firstly, Bibi Dong abandoned her, then she fell in love with Lu Erlong, and finally found out that she was her own cousin. And the top 10 theories of my martial soul have been ridiculed, leaving me with some unpleasant memories of staying here. Apart from Yu Xiaojiang, Ling Nua's mind was also filled with some painful memories. Not only the two of them, but also the entire Nodding College, or in other words, the entire Nodding City, were caught up in this inexplicable rising sadness. Shoo. As the whole city was engulfed in painful memories, Ling Yun knelt on the ground sweating profusely, with the 9-tailed phantom behind him dissipating. My chest rises and falls, and my breathing rate is very fast. Not only that, but even the whole person looks particularly ferocious. As if the entire skin had disappeared, one could see the muscles mixed with blood inside. As the chest rises and falls, blood continuously drips into the ground. Fortunately, this situation did not last too long, about a minute. The disappearing skin has returned and become even more tender than before. After his skin regrowed, he saw Ling Yun half kneeling on the ground with a frightened expression, his forehead already covered in beads of sweat. Sign the contract tomorrow. If there are recommended tickets, please use your fingers to send them away. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Unable to cast ninjutsu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Unable to cast ninjutsu. In the early morning, a carriage quickly ran out of the city gate of Nodding and headed northeast. Inside the carriage, there were 3 people. Ling Yun, Ling Noa, and Yu Xiaojiang. After 3 days of discussion, Yu Xiaojiang and Ling Noa have roughly formulated the absorption plan for Ling Yun's first soul ring. So there was a scene of leaving the city today and planning to go to the Sunset Forest. Ling Yun is still riding a carriage for the first time, although it is a bit bumpy, overall it is quite good. The freshness lasted for about 3 minutes, and Ling Yun started talking about the main matter. Grandpa, Master, what are our general goals for this trip to the soul hunting forest? Ling Noa remained silent and looked at Yu Xiaojiang, gesturing for him to explain slowly. Cough, it's like this. Considering that Xiaoyun's martial soul riding will eye is quite unique, our discussion plan is roughly as follows. Firstly, we will search for soul beasts with extremely strong observation abilities. Similar to Silver Moon Wolf, which has extremely strong night vision ability at night. Next, Yu Xiaojiang mentioned his theory of martial soul mimicry, as well as his analysis of the special eye-type martial soul, Shuluan Eye. Especially one of them is to search for soul beasts with the ability to create illusions or improve spiritual power, so that Ling Yun's eyes cannot help but brighten. But soon, Ling Yun shook his head violently. The master's analysis, overall, shows no flaws, but for himself. It's a bit inadequate. Ling Yun, martial soul. Riding will eyes, 1 Goyu, 9 tails, soul power. 10, soul skill. None, ninjutsu. 3 body technique, transformation technique, separation technique, substitution technique, fire escape. Big fireball, Qi Yun value. 60, item list. Hand sword *20, after using the 9 tails reward, you will receive a second martial soul. Compared to riding will eyes, the 9-tailed side effects are particularly significant. Similar to the human pillar power that completely lacks control over the power of the tail beast, it is particularly easy to lose control. Just like on the day when I awakened my 9-tailed martial soul, my 9-tailed power leaked out and there was a big commotion, which caused my chi value to skyrocket to 1060, reaching a level that can be exchanged for a ninjutsu. The 9-tailed martial soul cannot be used anymore, the only benefit is that its soul power is almost infinite. As long as one's body can withstand it, soul power will continue to flow, which can be considered a benefit. After thinking for a moment, Ling Yun decided to exchange 1000 chi points for fire escape ninjutsu. Firstly, the Uchiha clan is skilled in fire evasion and possesses Uchiha bloodline, so there should be no problem with it. Moreover, the range of fire escape is large, the attack power is decent, and the attack speed is not slow, which is still worth choosing. The technique of big fireball can create a giant fireball with a diameter of 1 meter to attack. After spending 1000 chi to purchase, problems arose one after another. Si Wei Shanhai Wu Yin. After 6 seals were completed, nothing happened. Just like when I first cast my clone spell, after consuming soul power, nothing appeared. In theory, it is impossible for oneself to be unable to use the specially designed meditation method after practicing the system. Besides, I still have the bloodline of Uchiha, why can't I use fire escape? Or, what are the restrictions on the Hokage system after it reaches Douluo Continent? For example, chakra attributes and so on. Looking at the soul skill column, he couldn't help but say, "Grandpa, Master, I want to obtain a soul beast with the ability of fire element." In fact, he had searched for the chakra attribute in the mall without any clues, so he put his idea in the soul skill column. Yu Xiaojiang, who couldn't stop talking, couldn't help but pause when he heard Ling Yun's words. Quickly, he spoke up and said, "Xiaoyun, is there any basis for what you said? In the city of Nodding, when it comes to matching soul rings, Yu Xiaojiang is second, and no one dares to say first." Cough cough, Yuner, why do you want to obtain the soul ring of the fire element? Ling Noa coughed lightly and couldn't help but ask seriously. Soul masters can only have 9 soul rings in their lifetime, so the selection of each soul ring must be carefully considered. In fact, if Ling Yun doesn't give a good reason, he doesn't want his obedient grandson to behave recklessly. More importantly, Ling Yun is born with full soul power, so the selection of soul rings cannot be careless. Grandpa, this message seems to have been told to me by the martial soul, but I'm not quite sure about the specifics. After a brief explanation, Ling Yun thought for a moment and said, "Grandpa, Master, do you have a soul beast that controls the power of the fire element and can enhance visual and spiritual abilities?" On the Douluo Continent, there are various types of soul beasts. Mastering elemental power and possessing special abilities is probably not uncommon, is it? After Ling Yun spoke, Yu Xiaojiang fell silent. He couldn't help but speculate in his heart that the martial soul could still give such a hint. Why don't the other martial souls know, or is Xiaoyun's martial soul very special? Unlike Yu Xiaojiang, who had been thinking for a long time, Ling Noa seemed to think of something and said, there really is this kind of soul beast. In fact, it is one of the goals this time. 7 days later, in the soul-hunting forest. After identifying the target of the soul beast, Ling Yun and his companions began a purposeful search. Until they crossed the forest area and arrived at a grassland, they finally found their target. The fire-striped leopard has brown fur all over its body, and each red stripe on its body represents its century-old strength. The 4 stripes, about 400 years old, perfectly match the maximum age of the first soul ring. Moreover, the leopard-type soul beasts have extremely strong concentration, and I believe that it is a significant improvement in the martial soul of the Sharingan. Looking at the fire-striped leopard, about 200 to 300 meters away, foraging for a deer-shaped soul beast, as Yu Xiaojiang explained, he spread knowledge to Ling Yun on the side. Yu Xiaojiang already had the idea of accepting Ling Yun as his disciple in his heart. Although he didn't understand why Ling Yun refused him, he wouldn't give up. Ling Yun, this student, must be accepted. This is his only chance to kill him back. Xiaojiang, the fire leopard is very vigilant. Please use your 3 cannons first. Ling Noa glanced at the fire-striped leopard eating food, then turned his gaze to the chubby Luo Sanpao beside him and expressed his thoughts. Although he is a soul sect, the only regret is that he is a soul warrior and his speed is not as fast as that of the fire emblem leopard. They were nearly 200 meters apart, enough for the fire leopard to turn around and escape. I understand, look at me. Yu Xiaojiang nodded and glanced at Luo Sanpao. After the 3 cannons understood, they immediately stepped out of their short legs and ran out. Gollum Roar, the fire leopard, enjoying lunch, finally realized something was wrong. It stopped its foraging motion and made a warning sound. Quickly, the gaze turned towards a nearby figure, a plump purple figure, and its alert gaze couldn't help but pause. It clearly didn't expect that disturbing its own desire for lunch would be another delicacy. Roar, the fire leopard lowered its food in its mouth and couldn't help but bow up, as if it would pounce in the next moment. Unexpectedly, the fire leopard did not attack, and Luo Sanpao moved first. Fart like thunder, with 3 thunderous shots. Yu Xiaojiang was at the back, with 2 soul rings flying out of his body and directly entering Luo Sanpao's body. Under the stunned gaze of Huowen leopard, Luo Sanpao suddenly jumped up. A thunderous sound rang out, and the unprepared fire emblem leopard was directly shaken out. That's the time. Ling Noa's soul power erupted, and 4 white, yellow, purple, and purple soul rings emerged. Holding a pitch-black axe in his hand, he directly swung towards the fire-emblemed leopard. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. First Soul Skill, Fire Escape. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 First Soul Skill, Fire Escape. Luo Sanpao launched a surprise attack, and Ling Noa Soul Sect picked up an axe and rushed out directly. A fire-patterned leopard with 400 years of cultivation couldn't sustain it at all. Under Ling Noa's intentional control, the fire-striped leopard lay on the ground covered in blood, still taking its last breath. Upon seeing this, Yu Xiaojiang couldn't help but hastily shout, "Xiao Yun, hurry up. You must take the last blow, otherwise this soul ring will be destroyed." Okay. Ling Yun had already run out, flipped his hand, and a silver-white dagger appeared in his hand, stabbing directly at the head of the dying fire-striped leopard. Puzzy. Wu, the fire leopard took its last breath and a yellow soul ring appeared on its forehead. Great, finally you can absorb the first soul ring. Awakening the martial soul to now, it has been a full 10 days, and I have finally obtained my first soul ring. Just like cultivation, pull the soul ring onto the martial soul and defend the mind. Yu Xiaojiang walked from behind, reminding Ling Yun of some precautions. I understand. Taking a deep breath, Ling Yun sat cross-legged next to the fire-striped leopard. The color of the pupils changes, and a jade willow appears. With a movement of his mind, Ling Yun pulled the yellow soul ring onto his body, absorbing the energy contained within the ring. About an hour later, a burst of soul power erupted from Ling Yun's body, indicating that he had successfully absorbed the power of the soul ring and become a true soul master. After the breakthrough, Ling Yun did not immediately open his eyes. But in my mind, I call out the system panel. Just as soon as it was opened, Ling Yun was immediately attracted by a pop-up message from the system. Congratulations on absorbing your first soul ring. The soul ring attribute is fire, and you will receive a random C.level ninjutsu *3 as a gift. Congratulations on obtaining the fire dungeon ninjutsu, Heihokyu, Fengxian fire, and dragon fire. Congratulations on becoming a true soul master. Advanced roulette draw once. Ling Yun did not expect that by absorbing soul rings and becoming a soul master, he could receive such rewards. Ling Yun, martial soul. Writing will eyes, 1 Goyu, 9 tails, soul power. 11.5, soul skill. First soul skill. Fire escape, 420 years old, possessing fire attribute energy, can release fire attribute ninjutsu. After releasing the soul skill, the next attack ability doubles, ninjutsu. 3 body technique, transformation, separation, and replacement, fire escape. Big fireball, fire escape. How fireball, fire escape. Dragon fire, fire escape. Phoenix fire, Qi Yun value. 480, item list. Hand sword *20, advanced will lottery once. Seeing the new panel and the soul skill column, Ling Yun couldn't help but feel delighted. Sure enough, if you want to use Naruto, you need some prerequisites. Absorbing the power of the fire emblem leopard, I have unlocked the fire attribute chakra, and the soul skill effect doubles my next attack. The soul skill effect is also good, improving one's own attack ability. I don't know if there is a doubling ability for this attack and if there is a range of use. If illusions, clones, and martial arts abilities can be doubled, then this is a divine skill. After breaking through the Soul Master and obtaining a soul ring that can release fire attribute ninjutsu, Ling Yun is still very happy. Just seeing the changes in the Qi luck value column, the whole person felt a bit dumbfounded. If I remember correctly, his remaining Qi value is only 60, but this extra 420. How did it come about? 420, 420. The origin of this Qi luck value is somewhat incorrect. I should have seen it myself. Quickly, Ling Yun seemed to realize something and looked towards the soul skill column. If I didn't read it wrong earlier, the age of my first soul ring is 420 years, right? Is it because I absorbed the first soul ring and obtained the Qi value of the first soul ring's lifespan, or because I killed the fire pattern leopard and obtained the Qi value of the opponent's cultivation? Qi Yun value. Qi Yun value. The scope of Qi Yun is somewhat broad. Is it different from what I thought? Not only can I only obtain it from the characters in the original plot, but also have other ways. Yuner, how are you feeling? Outside, Ling Noa saw that Ling Yun had absorbed the soul ring and had not woken up since then. At first, he didn't think much, just thinking that the other party was immersed in the power of possessing soul rings, but this pause was too long, right? So he couldn't help but speak up and called out his grandson. Ling Yun opened his eyes, and after Ling Noa and Yu Xiaojiang looked over, they couldn't help but be stunned. If you're not mistaken, it seems that Ling Yun hasn't exerted his soul power yet. Why is the writing of the wheel eye martial soul still attached to the opponent's eyes? Except for Ling Noa and Yu Xiaojiang, Ling Yun himself also noticed. My soul power has converged, but the Sharingan has not disappeared. Could it be that my current self no longer deliberately stimulates soul power to use the power of the Sharingan? In that case, it feels pretty good. Xiao Yun, I don't know what your first soul ring is, what is it? Seeing Ling Yun in a daze, Yu Xiaojiang couldn't help but ask on the side. He is particularly curious now about what soul rings Ling Yun, a special martial soul, can obtain by absorbing the power of the fire pattern leopard soul beast. Yeah, Yuner, what is the first soul skill? Can you show it to Grandpa? When Yu Xiaojiang mentioned this, Ling Noa suddenly remembered what they were doing in the soul-hunting forest. Grandpa, Master, my first soul ring is a bit special. It gave me the power to control flames. After roughly speaking, Ling Yun looked towards a soul beast not far away, which was a wolf soul beast with one eye. It should have smelled the blood of the soul beast corpse and was attracted, but due to the presence of the three people, it was particularly wary. Oh, this is a giant-eyed wolf with over 100 years of strength. If there were no attribute restrictions, it would also be one of our targets. Yu Xiaojiang glanced at the giant-eyed wolf and roughly talked to Ling Yun. At the same time, he thought to himself, wouldn't this child want to use the giant-eyed wolf to test the power of soul skills? Fortunately, Ling Noa is here. Otherwise, this time, we wouldn't have allowed Xiao Yun to act recklessly. The giant-eyed wolf is a group-dwelling soul beast. Even if the head wolf's strength is only over 100 years, there are still many wolf race people with decades of cultivation. When it comes to being surrounded, it will be over. Ling Noa also saw it, but he did pat his chest and confidently said, Yuner, you can try it. Grandpa will hold it for you. With a response, Ling Yun slowly took 3 steps forward, activating his soul power and placing a yellow soul ring around him. The first soul skill. As the soul ring flickered, Ling Yun's hands began to seal. Si Wei Shen Hai Wu Yin. The last seal was completed, and immediately after, Ling Yun felt a raging flame condensing in his throat. Fire escape. The art of the big fireball. Ling Yun did not use the newly acquired ninjutsu, and the properties of the big fireball and the great fireball were similar. The former is already fixed in size, unlike the technique of Huiqiu, which increases in size with soul power output. The first soul skill enhancement, originally a 1-meter-sized fireball technique, has been directly transformed into 2 meters, and the speed is much faster than described. The signing will be delayed for a day, it's uncomfortable. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Another way to obtain gas transport values. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Another way to obtain gas transport values. The speed of the great fireball technique is very fast, and the leader of the giant-eyed wolf has no time to dodge. Or rather, it completely did not anticipate the human in front of it, being able to spit fire out of its mouth. Bang, the fireball struck, and the giant-eyed wolf struggled without a trace. It was enveloped by the flames and made a thunderous sound. The giant-eyed wolves who had not yet walked out were stunned when they saw the leader's soul beast scorched black and emitting a very delicious fragrance. Ahem, I don't know which wolf shouted. Accompanied by a burst of howls, the giant-eyed wolves quickly evacuated, even ignoring the leader's corpse emitting a roasted meat aroma. This is quite powerful. Even if it's fast, it can instantly kill a 100-year-old soul power wolf leader with just one strike. After seeing this power, Ling Noa expressed great satisfaction, although it was somewhat strange. Why does the eye martial soul release attacks from the mouth, but it doesn't matter. It's enough for his grandson's strength to be enhanced. I see, the eye martial soul can also attack, but has the attack mode changed? In Yu Xiaojiang's hand, a notebook appeared at some point, and he started recording with a pen. After recording, what else did Yu Xiaojiang think of? That's because Ling Yun seemed to be manipulating some gesture with his hands just after using his soul technique. Is it closely related to his release of soul technique? The Great Fireball technique, with a 11.5 level soul power release, will consume 30% of my own soul power. In addition, after releasing the first soul skill's amplification ability, my own soul power will be reduced by 10%, totaling nearly half of my soul power. Even in the state of full soul power, using the big fireball with the first soul skill increase requires almost half of the soul power, which is really enough. Observing the power caused by the great fireball technique and the loss of his own soul power, Ling Yun probably has a little understanding of the power of ninjutsu. But it consumes a lot of soul power, and its power is still very considerable. Except for an instant, which turned a living wolf into a roasted wolf, the surrounding 4 meters of grass suddenly turned pitch black. The 2-meter fireball has a destructive range of 8 meters in diameter when killing the target, and its power is quite good. For ordinary soul masters, almost half of their soul power can cause such destructive power, which is definitely worth it. Fortunately, I am different. Even if I consume a lot of soul power, what happens? I have the second martial soul, known as the 9-tailed infinite soul power-tailed beast. Even if you can't fully utilize the 9-tailed power, it's regrettable to activate the 9-tailed chakra mode, but this infinite soul power is still very satisfying. It is worth mentioning that the technique of the Great Fireball can be considered as a D.level ninjutsu. Above level D, there are also 4 levels of ninjutsu: C, B, A, and S. After experimenting with the power of ninjutsu and soul skills, the 3 quickly left the soul hunting forest. On the way, Ling Yun also observed that his chi luck had changed again from 460. Leaving at a fast pace, almost fully advancing in a straight line, with Ling Noa as the soul sect present, the journey was smooth and unobstructed. Before dark, I successfully returned to the small town outside the soul hunting forest. Considering the pitch-black sky, Ling Noa found a hotel and moved in with Ling Yun and Yu Xiaojiang. After having a normal dinner, taking a shower, and washing away all the fatigue, Ling Yun lay on the bed and continued to look at the system panel. The most obvious change is that the number in the Qi Yun value column has increased from 460 to 1000. When testing the level of ninjutsu, Ling Yun noticed the change in Qi luck. 460 has risen to 600, and the extra 120 Qi luck is probably from the big-eyed wolf. After killing the soul beast, Ling Yun was pleasantly surprised to receive the Qi value of the opponent's cultivation. He thought he could only obtain it from important figures like Yu Xiaojiang on the original timeline, but he didn't expect it to be possible to hunt soul beasts. As a result, there are more ways to obtain Qi values. Ling Yun is still strange. Why are the exchange prices for each ninjutsu so high? It turns out that there is more than one way to obtain it. It's a bit strange. Killing soul beasts can earn Qi points, why name it Qi points? Can it be said that the cultivation on these 2 soul beasts is their own luck? It seems that there is really some possibility. Regarding this, Ling Yun has 2 conjectures: sustainable development and unsustainable development. Hunting soul beasts can only be obtained once, which is somewhat dangerous, but the benefits are huge. There should be no limit to what Yu Xiaojiang has gained, but now it seems that there is no limit. Because apart from the 120 Qi points from killing the giant-eyed wolf, the remaining 400 were contributed by Yu Xiaojiang along the way, and his grandfather had none at all. From now on, obtaining Qi luck from Yu Xiaojiang is a sustainable and non-dangerous path. Yu Xiaojiang is like this: how much will he get from Tang San? In his thoughts, Ling Yun thought of his reward, which had not yet been fully claimed. Ling Yun, Martial Soul. Writing Will Eyes, 1 Goyu, 9 Tails, Soul Power. 11.5, Soul Skill. First Soul Skill. Fire Escape, Ninjutsu. 3 Body Technique, Fire Escape Big Fireball, Fire Escape How Fireball, Fire Escape Dragon Fire, Fire Escape Phoenix Fire, Qi Yun Value. 1000, Item List. Hand Sword *20, Advanced Will Lottery. Once, looking at the advanced roulette draw, I silently thought to myself that after using it, a roulette appeared again. Compared to the mysterious turntable with only 10 squares and abundant rewards. There are many advanced turntable grids, totaling 50. There are many rewards inside, and luckily, this is not the kind of big turntable with the option of, thank you for your patronage, like Blue Star in the previous life. The 50 reward features are abundant, including illusions, body spells, secrets, ninjutsu, weapons, and more, all of which are well-known and well-known abilities in the world of Hokage. Even more so, there is a tail beast. This should be the pinnacle of rewards, right? Ling Yun couldn't help but think that if he drew one tail, would it mean he had 3 martial souls? While daydreaming, Ling Yun silently recited the lottery in his heart, and the turntable began to rotate. After rotating for about a minute, Ling Yun stopped and the pointer finally stopped on a weapon. The next day, Ling Yun and his companions left the soul-hunting forest town and returned to Notting City for a day and a half. Time flies like an arrow, and the sun and moon shuttle like a shuttle. In an instant, 3 months had passed and the Novan Soul Master Junior College had already begun. In Notting City, Ling Yun walked on the street wearing a suitable light blue Notting College uniform. Looking at the direction, it is obvious that he has returned from the Martial Soul Branch Hall. It's another golden soul coin. The welfare distribution from the Martial Soul Hall is acceptable. These are all the 4th golden soul coins I've wasted. The purchasing power of a golden soul coin in Douluo Continent is about the same as that of Blue Star's 10,000 yuan. I don't have to do anything every month, and I can spend 10,000 yuan for free. These days are really comfortable. While playing with the gold coins, Ling Yun noticed a slight abnormality. That is in front of the gate of the Notting Soul Master Academy, standing an old man and an ordinary boy about his own age. The elderly and the young are now being stopped by a gatekeeper, as if they don't want them to enter. 3 months later, the Notting Soul Master Academy opened, and everyone, old and young, was blocked outside the door. Isn't this the first scene of Tang San starting his studies? Ling Yun's gaze scanned towards the rear and indeed noticed the figure of Yu Xiao who had just returned. Sure enough, is this the scene? If my guess of Qi luck is correct, then now is an opportunity. Thinking of this, Ling Yun slowly approached the door. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. The plot is indeed full of luck. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. The plot is indeed full of luck. Sai, what are you doing? This is not the place where you rural people should come. This little brother, we are from Holy Soul Village. This child is a working-class student sent by our village this year. Do you think we need to go through any procedures? Can a golden phoenix still emerge from the grass nest? As he approached, Ling Yun's face slightly changed. I didn't expect to hear such a classic antagonistic speech as soon as I came over, it's really rare. The little boy standing next to old Jack, also known as Tang San, frowned slightly. However, at this moment, he noticed someone approaching from behind and glanced slightly at his gaze. Seeing the newcomer, Tang San's face couldn't help but change. He felt that it was different from the aggressive gatekeeper. The person in front of me, who is about the same age as me, has hard power. As the gatekeeper joked about old Jack, he immediately respectfully observed the shadows of others. So it's Yun Xiao. How about going out today? As the grandson of the dean, Ling Yun holds a very high position at Notting College. More importantly, Ling Yun is a true soul master, not something that an ordinary person can provoke. Ling Yun didn't reply, but his gaze fell on old Jack and Tang San before quickly turning to the gatekeeper and saying, "What's going on?" "Hey, it's Yun Xiao. The two of them are from Holy Soul Village. That child has soul power and is said to be a work student sent in this year. Yun, you know, our college hasn't had any engineering students for a long time. How could there be any this year, right?" Next to Ling Yun, the gatekeeper, with a seductive expression on his face, clearly labeled old Jack and Tang San as dirt hats long ago. You're speechless. The gatekeeper said this on the side, and old Jack, a kind-hearted person, also got a little angry and immediately started cursing on the side. "Grandpa Jack, don't be angry. I won't come to school at most." Looking at the gatekeeper, Tang Sanming seemed to have a murderous aura. Seeing Ling Yun, who was the same age as himself but had a high status in Notting College, Tang San knew that it was difficult for him to enter the college. At the age of 6, apart from himself, Tang San couldn't imagine who wouldn't listen to these sweet words. "No, mistress, you are the expectation of our Holy Soul Village, you." "All right." During the debate, Ling Yun finally spoke up. As soon as they spoke, the gatekeeper and old Jack both shut their mouths. "Don't look at them, one in their teens and the other in their 60s, both of them are older than Ling Yun. The most esteemed soul master in this world, even if he is young, it is not difficult to teach them a lesson." Stopping the two, Ling Yun reached out his hand to old Jack and said, "Grandpa, do you have any proof of the martial soul hall?" "Let me see." Old Jack was momentarily taken aback and quickly regained his senses. He quickly said, "Yes, yes, yes. Master Soul, please wait, I'll give it to you right away." After shouting, old Jack took out the martial soul certificate from his arms and handed it to Ling Yun. Ling Yun took a brief glance at the voucher and saw the familiar name, Martial Soul, and Soul Power. He spoke up, "Since that's the case, Grandpa, please hand over this little brother to me and I'll take him in to handle the procedures." Okay, thank you so much." Actually, old Jack and Tang San had similar thoughts in their hearts. At Ling Yun's age, being flattered by the gatekeeper, they are somewhat hesitant to enter Notting College. Who could have imagined such an unexpected gain? Ling Yun responded faintly, glancing back and seeing Yu Xiaojiang who had just walked from the corner, he accelerated his speed. "Tang San, come with me, right?" Calling Tang San up, as he passed by the gatehouse, Ling Yun glanced faintly at him. The gatekeeper instinctively turned his head and met Ling Yun. But on the other hand, it's not a pair of normal pupils, but a pair of blood-red eyes. Right will eyes and gaze at the gatekeeper, while Goyu rotates in her pupils. At this moment, the gatekeeper felt his body cold, as if many fierce beasts were crouching around him, ready to tear him apart at any moment. Ling Yun walked ahead, while Tang San passed by the gatehouse and couldn't help but be stunned. The arrogant and domineering gatekeeper just now seemed to have seen something very terrifying, his feet trembling slightly, as if something was flowing out and emitting a certain odor. Tang San disdainfully swept his nose and quickly left following Ling Yun's footsteps. After Ling Yun and Tang San entered the college, old Jack glanced at the gatekeeper and quickly dodged. After old Jack left, he saw Yu Xiaojiang returning and nodded kindly at him before quickly leaving. Within the college, Ling Yun didn't go to see Tang San for a moment, but instead looked at the system panel. Ling Yun, Martial Soul. Writing Will Eyes, 1 Goyu, 9 Tails, Soul Power. 14, Soul Skill. First Soul Skill. Fire Escape, Ninjutsu. 3 Body Technique, Fire Escape Big Fireball, Fire Escape How Fireball, Fire Escape Dragon Fire, Fire Escape Phoenix Fire, Qiyun Value. 5300, Item List. Grass Shaving Sword. Imitation, Soldier Grain Pill *11, Kowo *7, Hand Sword *50, Great, I instantly gained 3000 chi points. It seems that by blocking some of Tang San's plot, I can also gain chi points. For the past 3 months, he has been practicing at Notting College and has hardly gone out to hunt soul beasts. Except for the just obtained 2000 chi points, all the other chi points were obtained from Yu Xiaojiang. It can only be said that the protagonist is truly the protagonist. With just a change in the plot, he gained 2000 chi points. Next, Tang San and Xiaowu will meet, and they will do some tricks to increase their chi points. At any rate, it was the first time Tang San and Xiaowu, the 2 male and female protagonists, had met. If they were interfered by themselves, their luck value would not be less than the 2000 just now, right? Hello, my name is Tang San. I don't know your surname, Inong. As Ling Yun was fantasizing in his mind, Tang San's voice rang out, pulling Ling Yun's thoughts back. Looking at Tang San with a serious expression on his face, he couldn't help but feel a little emotional. Don't say, Tang San looks cute and polite at this time. How could the future become that God King who will do whatever it takes? My name is Ling Yun. Your words are too heavy, I just want to maintain the original regulations of the college. After saying a little, he took out his testimony and said, You are born with full soul power. If our college doesn't accept this kind of genius, we will be ridiculed to death by other colleges. Brother Yun laughed. Tang San was just lucky enough to have such talent. Tang San is very humble. The rules of the Tang sect also stipulate that Tang sect disciples cannot be arrogant, otherwise it will only be themselves who suffer in the end. After these words, Ling Yun saw that his luck had increased by 100 again, and he was very happy. He truly deserved to be the protagonist. So next, I'm going to find Xiaowu. With this in mind, he spoke up and said, Alright, I'll take you to register for school first. Someone will take you to the dormitory later. Thank you, Brother Yun. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Encountering Xiaowu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Encountering Xiaowu. After Ling Yun brought Tang San to the academic affairs office, the teachers all leaned over. It's Ling Yun. It's really strange that you came here. The teachers inside were all shocked and they saw Ling Yun. Upon seeing this scene, Tang San had some speculations about Ling Yun's identity. Only the president and vice president hold such a great position in the college. Brother Yun's parents should be one of them, right? Director Su, his name is Tang San and he is a new work student this year. I saw him being harassed by the gatekeeper, so I brought him in. Speaking, he handed the martial soul certificate to Director Su. Upon hearing that it was a work student, Director Su was also somewhat surprised because the college had not received any work students for many years. Upon opening it, he was shocked to see the innate soul power described above. First. Innate full soul power. What? After Director Su shouted loudly, the other teachers sitting in their seats fishing began to gather around one by one. Ling Yun and Tang San were also startled by the teachers' reactions. But this is what Ling Yun hopes for. Tang San, just stay here. You are born with full soul power, and the college will probably give you some preferential treatment. Director Su or other teachers will take you to the dormitory then. I understand, Brother Yun. Thank you for your help. After vaguely guessing Ling Yun's identity, Tang San became even more respectful. Having a high status, although somewhat indifferent, he does not casually listen to others and is a friend worth getting along with. Ling Yun nodded and didn't say much before quickly leaving the academic affairs office. Tang San was arranged here by him. According to his understanding of these teachers, without being accepted as disciples by Yu Xiaojiang, they should strive to win over Tang San as a genius. Even if the martial soul is blue-silver grass, it cannot withstand Tang San's innate soul power. Even if Tang San didn't apprentice in the end, he could still procrastinate for a while and miss out perfectly with Xiaowu. Especially in the column of Qi Yun value, it increased from 5400 to 5700, up 300. Sure enough, killing soul beasts is still too dangerous. Where is there a faster way to collect wool? It's still a sustainable development resource. With this in mind, Ling Yun estimated the arrival time of Xiaowu and planned to stroll around the academy. At the top of Nodding College, a man dressed in a black cloak who looked incredibly sturdy watched this scene. The man glanced at Ling Yun for a moment, then at Tang San, who was being contested by other teachers. After a moment of contemplation, he flew towards the house where Yu Xiaojiang was located. Ling Yun walked slowly on the road of the college, looking ahead and looking very leisurely. In fact, he was completely nervous. If I could get close to Ling Yun's chest, I would feel his heart beating very fast, making me very anxious. Is that sense of danger just now Tang Hao? After merging the 9 tails, not only is the soul power almost infinite, but it also seems to inherit the powerful perception ability of the 9 tails. Although it doesn't have that kind of bug. But as long as someone harbors malice towards oneself in secret, one will become aware of it. Although unable to find the exact direction, it can let oneself know that one has been targeted. This feeling has been present since I first arrived at the Academic Affairs office and since I left. Tang Hao, that guy, I don't know if he will stay in the college or just stay for a while in the future. In Ling Yun's impression, Tang Hao seemed to have been following behind Tang San to protect him. But he had no idea how far he followed. Ling Yun was hiding in a corner outside, but he wasn't too worried. If he had been in the college all the time, he would have been miserable. The only way to obtain chi points without hunting soul beasts is through Yu Xiaojiang, Tang San, and Xiaowu who have not yet met. With the urine nature of Tang San's son, Yu Xiaojiang will definitely become Tang San's teacher in the future unless he agrees to become his student. But I don't even want to apprentice. To become a teacher is nothing more than to become stronger or receive blessings. Becoming stronger, having a system to rely on, if blessed, clearly has better choices for oneself. Is it not a good choice for the 7 treasures glass sect of the Heavenly Do Empire or the Martial Soul Hall? I am born with full soul power, and the 2 major forces have no reason to refuse my joining. Which of these 2 is better than staying by Yu Xiaojiang's side? Ling Yun is also unwilling to join 2 major forces. Having a system of one's own, the future is destined to be extraordinary. Before the big deal becomes stronger, let's just focus on developing and discussing it. After confirming his thoughts in his mind, Ling Yun couldn't help but nod in satisfaction. Next, let's see if we can encounter Xiaowu and boost our luck. Just thinking about it, a crisp voice came from my ear. Excuse me, how can I get to the Academic Affairs office? Upon hearing the sound, Ling Yun paused in his footsteps and couldn't help but lift his head to look over. What caught the eye was a girl dressed in clean pink clothes, with hair tied in scorpion tails, who looked very cute. Can't it be so coincidental? Looking at the girl in front of him, Ling Yun thought of the description of Xiaowu in the original work and quickly confirmed her identity. The female protagonist of Douluo Continent, transformed into a 100,000-year-old soul beast with soft bones and a rabbit, performing a small dance. Or rather, the 100,000 chi value of walking. Hunting soul beasts that have been cultivated for many years can earn you as much chi value. So if you slaughter Xiaowu now, will you have 100,000 chi value? Not only 100,000 chi points, but also a 100,000-year soul ring and soul bone. Thinking of this in his heart, Ling Yun's mind came to life. Xiaowu looked at the boy ahead, who looked very cold but somewhat good-looking. For some reason, there's a coolness behind me. Strange, it's not very cold today. Xiaowu hugged her body, feeling a bit strange. Although there was no air leakage, why was it so cold? As Xiaowu muttered to herself, Ling Yun regained his senses and slowly cast aside the unrealistic thoughts in his mind. Ling Yun almost forgot that Tang Hao is still in the academy. I think Xiaowu has already been targeted by the other party, right? Xiaowu touched herself and found that it was not cold. She looked at Ling Yun, who was silent ahead, and couldn't help but ask, you haven't told me where the dean is going yet. Freshman, come with me, just where did I come from? Ling Yun didn't say much and turned around before walking on his own. It takes 15 minutes to get here. Tang San should have already arrived at the 7 houses. If he takes Xiaowu with him to take a detour or walk slower, he will definitely be able to deviate from the original timeline. Watching Xiaowu turn around and walk, she blinked her big eyes and jumped up and down to follow. There is still a way to go to the Academic Affairs office. Along the way, Ling Yun and Xiaowu formed a scenic spot at Nodding College. One is very good. Looking, especially the profile looks very handsome, while the other is lively, and cute. It's really difficult for such a handsome couple to attract the attention of others. This is not in college, it looks so big. This place is so beautiful. Seeing you walking so skillfully, you won't stay here forever, will you? Xiaowu is a restless protagonist, following behind Ling Yun, and her words never stop. Ling Yun walked at the front, his face twitching. He didn't expect Xiaowu, the rabbit, to talk so much. But soon, a figure emerged in front of Ling Yun and stopped him. Hey, I've told you so much, I don't know your name yet. Xiaowu ran to Ling Yun in front of her, her face showing no signs of impatience, but instead she spoke confidently. My name is Xiaowu. Dancing dance, what about you? Blinking her big eyes, Xiaowu couldn't help but approach Ling Yun for a distance, almost touching her. Looking at such a familiar little dance, Ling Yun's face couldn't help but change. He took 2 steps back before speaking 2 words. Ling Yun. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. He deserves to be the leader. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. He deserves to be the leader. Introducing herself, Xiaowu seemed to have turned on some kind of switch, and her words became more frequent, constantly chattering beside her. If it weren't for the constantly increasing chi value on the panel, Ling Yun would have guaranteed that he would definitely leave without hesitation. After arriving at the Academic Affairs office, Tang San had long disappeared without a trace. According to Director Su, it seemed that the master had come and taken Tang San away. No, it's just for a while, so we're reconnecting now. Yu Xiaojiang would take the initiative to search for Tang San, which Ling Yun did not expect. Think about it, is this the legendary plot correction power? Helping Xiaowu complete the enrollment procedures, Director Su and her team became excited again when they learned that she was born with full soul power. Looking at Ling Yun's gaze, both of them were somewhat strange. I haven't been a working class student for several years, but I was suddenly brought in by Ling Yun. Both of them have innate soul power. What kind of luck is this? Born with full soul power, Douluo Continent has not had many for hundreds of years, but as a result, Ling Yun encountered 2 at once. Can we say that this is just a matter of mutual admiration between geniuses? After all, Ling Yun himself is also an innate soul master with full soul power. After completing the procedures, Xiaowu came to Ling Yun and couldn't help but say, Ling Yun, I've processed everything. I just didn't know where Qisha is. How about you take me there? The reason for finding Ling Yun is very simple. She has been asking so many people all the way, and even though the other person is easy to talk to, she still leads her way. Obviously, she is a great kind-hearted person. Upon hearing this, Ling Yun was about to refuse. Unexpectedly, Director Su spoke up and said, that's a good idea. Ling Yun, could you please take Xiaowu to the 7th dormitory? Let's prepare some bedding and send it to Xiaowu later. Okay, thank you, teacher. Ling Yun was about to refuse, but Xiaowu hardly gave her a chance. After nodding happily and agreeing, she grabbed the other person and left. Ling Yun's mouth twitched as he was pulled away, truly a foolish rabbit. 2 people just met for less than 10 minutes, you just trust me like this. Believe it or not, I will kill you, kill the ring, take the bone, and take the chi value. Is this intelligence enough to come out for revenge? Are you sure it's not funny? If it weren't for the concern that Tang Hao was in the academy, Ling Yun would really have such thoughts. Of course, there is one more thing, which is that the added chi value is a bit higher than Tang San's. He is an excellent tool for pulling wool. The chi luck value of 5,700 has increased to 8,700 since encountering Xiaowu. I think it was myself who prevented Xiaowu from meeting Tang San and gained the chi value. In the future, Tang San should compete with Xiaowu, and now he should have a reason to intervene, right? Thinking of this, Ling Yun did not refuse. Director Su looked at Ling Yun, who was pulled away by Xiaowu, with a smile on his face. He couldn't help but say in his heart, "Hee, with my skills, won't the dean give me a promotion and salary increase?" The other college supervisors couldn't help but sigh in their hearts when they saw Director Su's operation, truly deserving of being the teaching director. Their reaction was really fast. This kind of reaction speed deserves him to be the leader. Pulling Ling Yun away, seeing that the other party did not resist at all, Xiaowu felt happy in her heart. Speaking of resistance, the body has no resistance at all. Sure enough, Ling Yun is a great kind-hearted person. This is Qixia. Let me tell you something. You are the only girl among working-class students, and you should stay away from the opposite sex when communicating with them. Arriving at the front of Qixia, Ling Yun gave a little advice to Xiaowu. Although I'm not sure if it's useful, it's possible to procrastinate for a while, so that I can increase my qi value. He can be considered to have understood a part of the way to obtain the qi luck value. If it's like changing the plot, unless you participate, you won't get any luck if the plot changes. Oh. Xiaowu nodded, not sure why Ling Yun said that. Immediately, as if thinking of something, he couldn't help but ask, "Ling Yun, what is the opposite sex?" The opposite sex means you are a girl, and to you, the opposite sex is a boy, understand? Ling Yun really didn't expect that. At least it is a transformed soul beast with 100,000 years of cultivation. Why don't you understand any reason? How did your 100,000 years of cultivation come about? Did you add all your talents to your cultivation? Oh, Ling Yun, you're also a boy. Do I have to communicate less with you? Xiaowu was a bit confused for a while. If I can't communicate, then I will encounter problems again in the future. What should I do? And asking questions, is it a bit impolite to be so far away from others? With this, Ling Yun paused and Xiaowu looked curiously at him from behind. Looking forward to the other party's answer. Turning around, Ling Yun looked at curious Xiaowu and couldn't help but say, "You're right about this, including me. You also need to stay away from it, understand? Is it like this?" Xiaowu scratched her head irritably, feeling a bit puzzled for a moment, wondering why it was. Seeing Xiaowu feeling a bit upset, Ling Yun nodded in satisfaction and finally stopped you from speaking. "I've been talking all the way, my ears are starting to cocoon. Remember, all men in the world are bad people." With another mouthful, Ling Yun pushed the 7 sacred gates open, and a figure flew out directly. Ah. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. The dormitory door suddenly opened, which scared Wang Xing half to death. Originally, it was just a tooth bump, but now I can't guarantee that my face will be ruined. But soon, Wang Xing was dumbfounded. Ling Yun opened the door and suddenly saw the person flying out, which naturally startled him. But soon he regained his senses, dodged to the side, and quickly reached out his hand to grab the person who was about to fly out. Fortunately, he is a level 14 soul warrior, and with the training he has received over the past 6 years, Ling Yun's body and bones are relatively strong. Just being dragged for 2 or 3 steps, Ling Yun quickly stood firm and did not fall. Wang Xing. Wang Xing. The people from the 7 Shis ran out and quickly surrounded Wang Xing one by one. Ling Yun caught Wang Xing and took a few steps outside, but was not surrounded. "Thank you, Brother Yun. I used too much force just now and almost injured the opponent." A group of people surrounded Wang Xing, and after a moment of seeking warmth and comfort, Tang San walked out from behind and bowed to Ling Yun. Thinking of the scene of catching Wang Xing just now, Tang San couldn't help but think to himself. Ling Yun had a very solid foundation, and without relying on any skills, he caught a person who was thrown out. Although he can handle this matter himself. But he has practiced martial arts before. After Tang San apprenticed to Yu Xiaojiang, he gained some knowledge and knew that there was not much martial arts here. Even after comparing the advanced meditation techniques taught by the teacher to Tang San, he continued to silently practice Shantian Gong. Without any martial arts or internal skills, Ling Yun can rely on brute force to catch people. In fact, the force is very strong. If he were to practice martial arts equally, Tang San felt that he would probably lose. The other 7 sacred ones regained their senses and naturally hurriedly thanked Ling Yun. At the same time, Wang Sheng and others who have been in the college for several years are naturally familiar with the matter of Principal Ling Yun's grandson. No problem, I didn't expect you to be competing, otherwise it wouldn't be like this. Ling Yun waved his hand and immediately pointed to Xiaowu, saying, her name is Xiaowu. She is a working class student this year. Someone will send bedding to Xiaowu later. Can you arrange it for her? Xiaowu jumped out of the room and introduced herself, hello, my name is Xiaowu, a dancing dance. Watching Xiaowu standing next to Ling Yun, Wang Sheng and others quickly nodded and began introducing themselves, including Tang San. Since I've met you, I'll leave first. Upon noticing a significant increase in qi value, Ling Yun casually said 1 or 2 words before quickly leaving. Damn it, the feeling of peeping has come again. Tang Hao is still in the academy. Qisha can't continue to stay, hurry up and withdraw. End of this chapter.